We are going live. Thanks everybody for being here. Please let me know, just put in the comments here. You can hear me loud and clear. I just want to make sure that the microphone, the camera, you can see with the screen, everything's doing good. So put in the comments here. You can hear me loud and clear. So I make sure we're all set. Thanks so many of you being with us today. So today's all about how many offers do you really need to make to find a deal? And we're going to deep dive into this. This is a commonly asked question. It's a pitfall a lot of people get into, and we're going to deep dive into this today. So what you will learn today, you will learn how many offers I need to make to get one property funded. You're going to learn what factors make a big difference. You're going to learn, are off-market or on-market deals easier to get under contract? You're going to learn how big a factor it is for your experience level. How much does that really play into all of this? Also, should marketing costs cast a wide net, or should you have a super sniper approach? Which one's going to be better for you as a real estate investor to make money in real estate investing? And how many offers should you place at the same time? We're going to deep dive into that as well. So common disclaimer here, this show's for entertainment purposes. You know, before you make financial moves, consult a real estate professional, attorney, CPA, other professionals, experts in the subject matter. Every situation is different. There's no one size fit all. There's no guarantees. We could get compensation or other remuneration. As with anything, results in life come from education, hard work, following a system, and being disciplined to see it to the end. Okay, let's do a quick review of last week. Who is with me? The 11 risk factors that you need to look at before investing in an area. That's what we talked about last week. Zelda, awesome. Good to hear. The big lesson I learned from buying a high-end home for 70% off and only breaking even. This was on last week. The secrets to deciphering value trends in your area and what that means for investing. The specific rules of thumb when considering crime rates, nearby rentals, and school volatility, and much more. Those are all things that we talked about. So let me first kick off just with a welcome. If you're joining me live, please give me your first name and the city or state you're investing in. So give me city/state and your first name if you're joining me live. We'll use that for some other purposes here a little bit later. And if you're watching this as a recording, I really encourage you to be here live. Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. You'll get so much more out of it, and you can ask questions just like Zelda just did as things are coming. You can ask any question. I'll get you real-time response, and I want to get you what you need out of these live casts. So it helps me really determine next week's topic. Frank, where were you last week, man? This is Frank from Scranton, right? Shout outs. Sorry if I get your name wrong. Today's topic is based upon your requests. So great comments. So Ash Paul said, thanks a lot, man. It would be great to make a vid about how to prepare to buy rental properties. Thanks, Ash. Shout out to you. We'll be doing that. Elijah told me, please, I live in Michigan around Lincoln Park, trying to get into investing. Just want to know what to get myself into this right away. My zips, please help in any way would be appreciated. So thanks for the comment, Elijah. Keith, loud and clear, sir. Really appreciate it. Adi said, I am with you. I really appreciate that. So keep the comments coming. This is why I do it. This is why I spend the time. It takes a lot of time to put these together. John from South Jersey, glad you're in the house with us. Okay, if you like these live casts and you want to see them continue, I really need your help. Like I say, this takes a ton of work. It takes a ton of prep. It takes a lot of equipment. So right now as a channel, we're at 3,880 subscribers. And I want to get to 4,000 by the end of this month. So we're 120. Actually, we added 10 more subscribers. So we're like 110 shy of getting to 4,000 between now and the end of the month. I have some videos that have 69,000 views on them. Some of them have 15,000 views. So please, here's what I want to do. If you are not a Do Hard Money subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. Help me hit my goal of 4,000 by the end of the month. Leave a comment on a recorded video. So after the recording, make sure you leave a comment in there. Give me a thumbs up for the video. It makes a big difference. And please tell somebody else about it. If you are willing to help me out to get to 4,000 subscribers, chat the words, let's get to 4K. Just put it in the chat here. Let me know that you're with me and you're wanting to help me out to get to 4K. Oh, Frank from Anderson, South Carolina. I am so sorry, man. We got a Frank from Scranton, PA. That's been on most of these live casts, but he missed last week. So let me just do a few shout outs here. We've got, let's see here, Juan from Dallas, Texas. Thanks for being here, Juan. The Wealth Chick, I love it. Shaniqua, Dallas, Texas. I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm so sorry. Navid from South Jersey. Oh, we got 2 South Jerseys. And let's see, Maurice Smith from Chicago, Frank from Anderson, South Carolina, that I confused with Frank from Scranton, PA. If any of you have watched The Office, you'll know Scranton, PA. I probably shouldn't even have to say that, right? Okay, first thing I like to do on all these is start with that COVID update. Nice, Jordan. Let's get to 4K. Thank you. COVID-19 updates. So here we go. Hospitals and resources. So here's what I think is really interesting. We're kind of over this hump. If you can see, this is today, but that was a few days ago when I got this. So you can see here, this very top one is number of beds needed across the United States. This next one is ICU beds, and the next one is ventilators. And it just shows you as a number of how many. So you can see we're starting to make our way down. And you can see by the end of August, it's completely over. You can see June, it's drastically reduced. And July, it's making its way down. So you can have a pretty good idea of what's happening here. Now, as we know, it's really localized. The ventilators and the hospital beds is kind of a leading indicator, and a lagging indicator is going to be deaths per day. And so this shows you how many deaths per day. So you can see it shot right up. It's kind of starting to come down. We're seeing that by the end of August again, things will substantially be trending down. Okay, Elijah in Michigan, I want to give you a shout out. I did a little bit earlier, but we also have this hospital resources just in Michigan. So you'll see here in Michigan, it shot up. It's starting to really come down. By the end of June, it's going to be really low. In July, it's pretty much going to be over if these projections are correct. So I think that's pretty good to know. Also, deaths per day, you can see they're actually getting on the other side of deaths per day. So it looks like Michigan wasn't hit as hard or was hit earlier than some of the other places. Compare it to the general overall country. And I don't want to be, please don't come, I don't want this to come across insensitive. These are people's lives we're talking about. So this is super, super unfortunate and a tragedy in all levels. In the same regards, we're all trying to work our way through it and over it to the other side. Dallas, Texas. Who we got from Dallas? Juan's from Dallas. Oh, man, we got a bunch of comments. Keep those comments coming. Somebody else was from Texas. I'm sorry, I forgot. So good news. The hospital resources in Texas are super, super low. So this will show you the resources for medical beds. You can see it's like barely even on here, so that's great news. And this is for T. Parker as well. Looks like you're a little later on the cycle, so you've seen some deaths kind of come up and down. But unlike some of the other places, they're talking about like 25 deaths a day, where some of them are talking about hundreds of deaths per day. And you'll see those deaths are taking longer to taper off, but overall resources are really low of hospital beds and those types of things. So that's really helpful. Carl, if you're on the call, make sure you shout out. I did this for you. You're in Huntsville. Same thing here. They're just not touching the resources that are necessary, which is really good news compared to what everybody was thinking. And then again, this is a lagging indicator, and we can see deaths per day. Theirs are even lower. We're talking about like 10 per day and lagging off when it comes to the end of August. So, you know, the big thing is effects are obviously going to be very localized. So I got to grab a drink. In Baltimore, some of the latest, so hospitalizations remain flat even though cases are rising. So, that's great news because it's not as horrible as what it was predicted to be. In Australia, less than 100 people have died in Australia compared to 3,500 from influenza in 2019. So I think it's kind of interesting that it hasn't been as bad in Australia either, which I think is pretty interesting. CNN reports, obviously, states are starting to open back up. Many businesses are reopening. That's great news for us as real estate investors. And the U.S. is also allowing some drug for recovery. So the FDA has approved one. There was a study done in Chicago where I think it was 135 people. Don't quote me on it. They gave the drug to, and 132 walked out, and only 3 passed away. And it was all of them should have passed away. So some exciting stuff about that. So let me jump back over here to Maurice. Okay, Frank, we got that. Jordan, let's get to 4K. Thank you. John, let's get to 4K and more. Thank you. Zelda, let's get to 4K. Awesome. Let's see here. Let's get to 4K. Subscribe to the channel. I love it. Let's see. Troy, let's get to 4K. Thank you. The Wealth Chick, let's get to 4K. Naveed, let's get to 4K today. Naveed, let's do it. Call some friends. Get some other people on the live cast. Frank, let's get to 4K. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate your support. Keep it up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Okay, let's talk housing, because now we need to say, how does this really affect us as real estate investors? We have an idea of what's happening with the COVID. We've been in this a little bit. We see some loosening. Some businesses are getting back, working on their way back. So let's talk housing. Okay, so mortgage rates fall to a record low. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage has dropped to an average of 3.23 during the week, ending April 30th, decrease of 10 basis points, according to Freddie Mac. U.S. price home acceleration. So the Case-Shiller reports shows that there was a 4.2% gain. This is in February, so this is before the virus. And today's report covered real estate transactions during the month of February. No signs of any adverse effect from government suppression. What I think is really interesting about all of this is, as much as the U.S. economy was shuttered in March, next month's data will reflect the impact of these policies. Everything was in great shape prior to COVID, so there's not something fundamentally wrong with the marketplace. So everything's expecting things to bounce back up. This was actually written in, this was Yahoo Finance. This was written in April 28th. And it says there's been a housing shortage of homes since 2014, and the lack of inventory is keeping prices up. Prior to the virus, historical low interest rates had set the year's spring home buying season up to be good, giving potential buyers more purchasing power, but there has not been enough supply to keep up with the demand. So we're still running into this issue that there's just not enough houses, and COVID's actually just made that worse and maybe put a little pause for some people that are looking. But the National Association of Realtors, this was also reported by Yahoo Finance, they did a survey, and despite the virus, people are not lowering the price of their house. So that just means people aren't desperate to try and get their houses sold. They're saying, hey, my house is worth every penny of it, which is a good indication, because what people are thinking as a group has a big indication on their emotional buying power and what that means to us as real estate investors. The National Association of Realtors chief economist Lawrence Yun calls the coronavirus impacts on real estate a temporary softening, and believes to have a strong rebound as soon as the virus goes bye-bye. And we're starting to see that virus start. We're seeing less and less impacts. And so some exciting things that are happening here. Basically, I think that what you're going to see, Fannie Mae is reporting a 15% decline in sales, not in homes prices. And I really believe you're going to see this in the higher end houses. I think they're going to take a bigger brunt of it than in some of your lower end price ranges. And lower end, I should say median or average. So some people may think, hey, let's don't move, let's just stay put. Some people want to buy, say, hey, I want to wait because I'm not sure what's happening with my job. You know, house prices, Fannie Mae, there's a rise in the average home price from $272 to $275 is what they're predicting to happen in 2020. And the median they're believing to go from $321 to $326. So they're expecting the median and the average. And so we had I think it was last week's live cast, we talked about what homes to be investing in. Really, the median and the average, stay at those and make sure you're under FHA limits. If you're doing those things, I think the impact long-term throughout the next year, unless the virus gets crazy, again, I think that you won't see a big impact on these home prices, and that's what Freddie Mae is reporting as well. And I think it's even less of an impact if you are in the higher price, or if you're in the lower price range. Again, I want to make this very, 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 very clear. They're expecting 15% fewer sales, fewer transactions, but we're expecting to see prices go up just a tiny bit, say 1% throughout the rest of the year. This is with COVID. So I think this is really important things for us to keep in mind. Okay, I'm going to read a few comments here, and then we're going to jump into it. Okay, let's get to 4K. Kent, let's get to 4K. Thank you. Frank, 4K plus Ryan. Yeah, let's do it. Juan, let's get to 4K. Let's rock. Thanks, Juan. Appreciate you being here. Okay, 10 things you can do now to profit. Go make offers, negotiate hard. Let the fear that people are having right now, use that to your advantage. Get long-term closing timeframes. I'm talking 30 to 90 days on closing timeframes. Get as long as you possibly can. And get long earnest monies. You don't want to be sitting on the earnest money. You want to get 30, 80 days earnest money so you have plenty of time. Improve your craft. Use the trainings. We've got property value. We've got finding. We've got rehab. We've got wholesale. We've got partnership. You name it. Attend just like you're doing now. And if you're not attending live, please join us on the live casts that are Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Find a partner with cash or credit. With the stock market up, down, sideways. The Wall Street casino is super active. There's people that want to get out of the Wall Street casino, and being a real estate investor can be a great way. And we also have quite a bit of information to help you on that. Take advantage of the 0% money. We've got a live cast all about this. I encourage you to go take a look at that and get access to the 0% money. MLS Sniper, if you haven't heard of it, we've got a whole live cast on it. And for our members, we have even more information for you to take advantage of MLS Sniper. Use seller financing. Is a great tool, and prepare yourself for cash flow acquisitions. These are all 10 things that you can be doing right now to take advantage of the current market, the current situation that we find ourselves in the middle of COVID. Okay. Now, let's get into this. This is going to get exciting. Okay, this topic is something that's so misunderstood. So if you're excited about this topic, please jot in the comments you're excited to hear this, because I want to know this is something you really want to hear. So I'd love to hear it. Okay, one more drink and we're going to get going. I think I've been talking too much today. Okay, how many offers do you really need to make to find a good deal? I think this is one of the most misunderstood things as real estate investors. Lots of times, the $1 million question, how many offers do you have to make to get one profitable deal? So not just get a deal, but to get a profitable deal. And the answer, I think, is going to be somewhere between 25 and 100. Let me explain here in just a minute. So there's a lot of factors. The real answer is it depends. But I didn't want to just leave you hanging there. So it depends on a lot of things. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but I am going to break it down. I'm going to talk about all the factors and all the final numbers. I'm going to break all that down for you. So on occasion, I've seen somebody that calls a real estate agent, makes an offer on a deal, then they look for 100% financing. They get frustrated because it doesn't qualify, and then they give up on their real estate investing and say it doesn't work. And so it works if you work it. So you need to know how to work it. That's just the biggest thing. So most new investors want to get started with little to no money down. That's how I got started. You should, if you can. It's going to make it, money's going to make it easier. You're going to have to outwork if you don't have as much money. We have another training on the 17 ways to get 100% financing. I think that's just for members. So take a look at that. It goes from easiest to hardest, and that will help you. There's actually 17 different ways to get 100% financing. So, but if you want to get that elusive 100% financing, put yourself in the lender's shoes just for a minute. Okay, so let's say you were the lender and a borrower came to you that had poor credit, no experience, little to no money. Would you lend them money? And lots of people say no. So why would a lender do this? And not a lot of lenders will. So the reason why a lender would is there's got to be a lot of equity to make up the difference for any problems you may have. So basically we're saying any of this equity is worth more than the poor credit, the no experience. And so it outweighs that factor for a lender to make them willing to be able to do that. But why experienced investors can do more deals? So I get this all the time, man, somebody else bought this property and made money on it. And the reason is they have access to other capital sources. They know the 17 ways. They don't have to find as good of a deal for somebody who wants 100%. See, if a lender's going into this, they're going to be more conservative and want to see more equity if they're lending everything. Whereas if you're bringing some money, the lender doesn't take as much risk, and so the lender's willing to be more aggressive. And that's why you're going to see experienced investors maybe picking up deals, or just people that are new, but they have more access to some capital. It's going to make it easier for them. And so if the only way for you to get a deal done is for 100% financing, you have got to find find a home run deal. And I'm not saying that that's impossible. It's possible. We do those on a regular basis, but you have to realize you're going to have to make 100 offers or 75 offers to get to that, because you can't do base hit deals. The lender takes on so much more risk. They're going to be more conservative, and you have to find other ways to do deals. And one of them is, for example, one of the 17 is a credit card finance. If you haven't watched the 0% finance training, I really encourage you to do that. You can combine that with hard money, so credit card financing plus hard money, and you're going to find yourself being able to do some of these base hit deals and not just these home run deals. And that's really, really important. So be prepared. And that's the next thing. So if the only way is 100% financing, you have to work so much harder. You just have to. And that's okay. If that's a situation you find yourself in, accept it and be willing to work harder. But if there's other ways that you can find using our 17 ways to get 100% financing, use those as well, because you have access to other things. It's going to make it easier for you to get little to no money down investing, which in the end is what most investors are looking for. And that's okay. You'd be trading time for money. It still pays better than most hourly jobs. So even if you are doing that, it's going to pay you extremely well once you put the time in and do it. So we have people who do it. So just be prepared for that, meaning be prepared to do the work you need to find that 100% financing deal. So what I don't want to have you do is say, hey, the only way I can do this 100% financing, the other 17 ways won't work for me, which they really should work for you, and you really should find another way, and then you can do some base hit deals. But let's just say that's not the case, and just for whatever reason, you can only do it by the lender funding 100%. You've got to make the mental preparation to say, I am ready to make the number of offers that are necessary in order for me to get that 100% financing. So just make that mental shift and say, I'm willing to do the work. And the cool thing is once you do the work once on that, the next time it's easier, now you have some more cash, you can start doing base hit deals. But if you can fast track it and use some of the 17 ways to get 100% financing, where you're not relying just upon the lender, you're going to have a much easier time getting some of those base hits. So basically, if you've got to get the 100% from the lender, you're going to have to be more committed to the process, because you're going to have to make more offers, and you can't give up earlier. It's going to take more work, more time, more offers, but you're going to end up with a bigger profit margin on the end than you would from some of the base hit deals. So that's the great news about it, but you're going to have to put more work in the front for more reward in the back. And some people can get a little discouraged because they would rather get a base hit now. And so we really encourage you to use those 17 ways so you can get some base hits early. If you can't and you're not able to, be prepared to put in the time, to put in the work to get to that 100%, and the payday is there on the back end when you do it. So factors. These are all factors that go into this MLS, or factors that go into how many offers you actually have to make in order to get a profitable deal. So factors on and off market. So MLS, on the market is on the MLS, off the market is not on the MLS. So if you're doing this, use MLS Sniper training if you want to do stuff that's on the MLS. So it takes more offers to get a deal when you're doing the MLS. Off market, these are properties that are not listed on the MLS. This takes less offers to be able to get a deal, but you spend time marketing to them as well. So typically off market, you'll get better margins on off market properties. If you do want to do on market properties, you want to use our MLS Sniper. Find an agent that's willing to make lots of offers and not give up. This is very important because you're going to have to make lots of offers. And watch our training on the MLS Sniper training. It will be a big help, so you're making very targeted offers for the right ones. And it's easy to get discouraged when you have to make a lot of offers. So just be prepared and make the commitment. The next one is the factors for personal sales skills. So depending upon what background you have in sales, do you understand people's needs? Can you listen? If not, read some sales books. This is something, you don't have to be an amazing salesperson, but you have to be willing to learn. And this is something that can be learned. This is something that can be taught. So I really recommend if you're interested in that, if you want to be successful, you can learn it. Read a few books and see. The other factor that comes in is just your experience level. If you're an experienced real estate investor, you know what to say, you know what to do, you know how to make it happen. We give some some samples of the motivation seller lead to an experienced person. And so we had a motivated seller form. So hopefully you've seen that in one of our other live casts, and our members obviously get access to it. So an experienced person could make a deal that a new person would not get. So I could take a new person and an experienced person, take them to the same property, and the experienced guy would walk away with the deal and the unexperienced guy wouldn't. And that's not every time, because even an experienced guy is going to have to make a bunch of offers to find the right one. But that said, you've got your experience level does have a factor in this. So if you're new and inexperienced, you've got to plan on working harder in order to get it. But the nice thing is you only have to work harder that one time, and then the next time's a little bit easier, and the next time's a little bit easier, and the next time's a little bit easier. So there is a learning curve, and you have to be willing to work through it. The more experience you have, the fewer offers you'll need to make to really get a good deal. And this can make a significant difference. I would plan on that doubling if you're experienced, meaning if you're an experienced person, it may take 25 offers. If you're not experienced, it may take 50 offers. So another factor that comes into play here is target marketing. If you're in your market, you can be broad. Marketing can be broad. So example, voice broadcast to out-of-state owners, or you could be targeted and you could do voice broadcast to out-of-state owners with $50,000 of equity in zip codes that you want to invest in with an involuntary lien. Like that gets very, very targeted. So the more targeted you're going to get fewer calls and fewer opportunities. But when you do, they're going to have a higher conversion. So it's kind of like, would you rather get more people calling, or would you rather get fewer? Do you want to cast a wide net or a shallower net? And you can do all this in Investor's Edge. So I just want to show you real quick. So somebody shoot me in your zip code. South Jersey. Let me just see. Nobody's got zip codes in here, but we'll just use South Jersey. Actually, I don't think it's going to come up as South Jersey. That's Illinois. That's Georgia. I don't think that's what we're looking for here. We'll just do Dallas. Dallas, Texas. So let's kind of get targeted here. So we're just going to put some filters on here. I'm in Investor's Edge, but let's just kind of put some filters on here. So let's do a vacant property, let's just say. And let's say that we're looking for something with a vacant property. Actually, let's just close this. Let's just see some of my preset filters, and we're actually changing these. So preset filters, liens with equity. Let's just do some vacant homes. So let's just get kind of targeted here. So we've got vacant homes, occupant status. Let's just change this to vacant, which is what we're doing. And then let's do someone valuation and equity, estimated equity more than $50,000. And then you could even go and say this is in a certain zip code. And let's say estimated value. I don't want anything over $500,000. And let's see what that gives us. That gives me 5,000. I need to bring this down to zip codes. But what I can actually do then is I can come here and do a skip trace. I could do a voice broadcast and send a postcard all without leaving my house. Looks like I got a few people that shot in a zip code. So let's go with Maurice. Let's go 60620. So Maurice, oh good, Illinois. I love Illinois. So let's just do a filter here in Illinois, and let's just say properties are vacant, and let's say they've got more than $50,000 of equity, and let's say they're under. Let's just say they're under $350,000. So let's just close this. There's still 1,153. So we can put another filter on here. Ownership information, absentee owner. Let's see, a divorce. Let's divorce filing. When did they actually have their divorce filing? Yeah, we could say they filed for divorce in the last 6 months. Let's see what that does for us. So that's obviously going to be very, very targeted. We had 1,100, and it looks like we have 0 that have filed for divorce in the last few months that are vacant, so I would suspect if they're filing for divorce, then somebody's probably living in the property. So that's probably a bad example to use for this. But the point is, let me just reset these filters. The point is that we can get really targeted. Vacant, Liz pendants, auctions, whatever the case is, we can get very targeted in our list so that we're actually just making offers to the correct people that we're trying to, that we want to be going after. And we can use Investor's Edge as a great tool to do that. Let's go through a few more factors, and I'm going to show you another really cool tool here. Okay, the other factor is going to be geography. So, places in the country, it just depends on where you're at, and the average, the median price range is going to make a difference there. So, if you're in Hawaii, you might have to make more offers. It's higher price ranges in most places than if you're in Wichita, Kansas. You might not have to, there's not as much competition there. So, which brings us to our next factor, which is competition with other investors. How many other investors are going after the same properties as you? Some areas you can find deals right off the MLS, others you have to compete for off MLS properties. So the overall real estate market makes a big difference. So what's happening with days on market? What's the absorption rate? The absorption rate means how many homes are getting sold versus how many are there. So how many are getting absorbed into the market, so they're coming off. The list price, list to sell price. How much was it listed and how much did it sell? That tells you how much of a discount had to be applied in order for that to that sell to happen. That's going to have a factor. So the other factor is time and or money. No matter what, you have to spend either time or money. Money can help you spend less time to get a deal because you're spending money like on marketing or postcards or skip trace. You won't have to spend as much time, but if you would rather spend time and not the money, you're going to need to knock on doors and make phone calls yourself. So it's a great example, buying postcards. If you can't afford that, you got to knock on doors, make calls yourself. And that's really how I started. I just started calling people. I just, call, hey, do you want to sell? Do you want to sell? And that's how he started. It's a great way to start. It is effective. It just takes longer. So you have to plan on this so you do not get discouraged. So if you don't have money to spend on marketing, you need to plan on spending more time. And watch our train on 0% capital to show you how to get money for 0%, which will help you with some of the money side, which might make it easier for you so you don't have to go after as many properties. Okay, factors. Other. Is the home vacant? Is the home in need of repairs? What's the level of motivation of the seller? All of these things really play into it. And in the end, guys, it's just a numbers game. That's just all it is. So I want to show you a really cool tool that we've got here. This tool basically tells you how many offers you need to plan on making based upon your situation. So if you come in here and you say, hey, I'm a beginner. If you're novice, you know nothing. If you're a beginner, you're a step up from that. And let's say I'm going after vacant properties. Well, look, that already brought it down. And let's say I'm going after, maybe heavy repairs, or I'm going after properties that are unlisted, and I'm going after properties that are maybe MLS plus equity. And how you can find them, all that's on Investor's Edge when you come back over to here. And then let's say you want to be going after people that have quite a bit of equity. Let's say we want to be going after, well, let's just say 20 to 50%. We'll leave it there. And then how much are you expecting to pay for the property? Oh, let's put it at $250. And then how much cash do you have? Oh, I don't have any cash. And this says hard money only. I don't have an option. I've got to just get 100% financing through hard money only. Now, let's say that you use like a line of credit plus hard money, you need to make less offers. So 36 to 46 offers is what you're looking at there. If it's hard money only, you're somewhere 48 to 58 based upon these. So this offer calculator tells you if you can put your situations in here and personalizes it and gives you an idea. And we update this, and this, numbers change and that type of stuff. We update the information in here so that you can then get an idea of how many offers you need to make. Of course, this is something we provide to our members. Then our members actually use what's called the next deal blueprint. So they take this and then they build out the exact marketing that needs to happen based upon their individual personal circumstances on how they can then make these offers and actually make them happen. So this is the next deal, or this is the offers calculator, and then that converts into the next deal blueprint, and then you actually use the Investor Edge system to start making those offers and finding those properties. Okay, so let's just get back to this because it is simply just a numbers game. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make. You've got to get a lot of leads. You've got to make a lot of offers. You'll get some accepted to get a deal. So let's break it down just a little bit. This is for a specific campaign and for an experienced investor. So these numbers are going to be different based upon all those factors we just talked about because there's no one size fit all, but our calculator gives you a pretty good idea of what that's going to look like. So direct marketing leads, you'll need about 75 leads. A lead is somebody that has interest in selling their property. And then that will turn into about 14 appointments. So 75 leads is going to turn into 14 appointments. An appointment is when you go to somebody's house or you have a closing phone call over the phone where you're planning on closing them. So if you're doing it remotely, 75 divided by 14 is about 5 to 1. and that will turn into about 10 offers. So 75 leads turns into 14 appointments, turns into 10 offers. And then with 10 offers, when you made 10 offers, you'll get about 2 offers accepted, and then one of those will close. So some accepted offers don't all close. There could be all kinds of different problems, and we'll talk about it. So why is there such a drop off through this whole thing? Not every lead that calls you is going to be motivated or have enough equity for you to buy their home. So leads, phone calls that turn into appointments, there's going to be about a 75% drop off rate there. And then your appointments to offers, you want to give everybody an offer, but some people just aren't going to let you. So about 75 or 70% of the time you're going to be able to give people an offer. And then offers to accepted, 10 offers turns into 2 accepted. 80% of the people you've offered to are going to say, no, I'm not interested. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take your offer. So 80% just are going to say no to that. And then contract to close, you've got 2 under contract, but only 1 close. About 15% of your contracts are not going to close. And here's why. There could be title problems. There could be problems with inspections. There could be problems with a lien. There could be capital problems. I mean, there could be a variety of problems as to why that just doesn't work out. And let alone, I didn't even put like contractor bids or inspections or any of those things could make a major difference in that not closing. Again, you've got to be prepared for that. Once you get that property under contract, there's a 50-50 shot it may not work out. So don't start spending money. Don't count your chickens until they've hatched, and make sure even because it closes, you still have to do the hard work of getting it rehabbed and getting it sold, and then you'll actually capitalize and actually make that money. So why are these numbers so different? Remember I told you 25 to 100 offers or 150. I just showed you 10 offers close into 1 closed deal. And what's the difference? The difference is the factors that we just talked about, the off-market versus the on-market versus the experience versus personal sales skills versus how much profit versus target, time on market, vacancy, motivated seller, needs repairs, partners, all those different types of things that we just talked about. All of this is what comes into this: the experience, the occupancy, the repairs, the MLS status, the motivation, the equity, the price, the cash, the financing. All that comes into play, and based upon whatever factors you're going to be, I'll just randomly change a few of these. Whatever factors you're dealing with is going to tell you what you're able to do in order to know how many offers you need to make as a real estate investor. And the point here is to not be discouraged. No, hey, I got to make 30 offers. I've got to make 40 offers. That doesn't mean exactly 40 will be the magic number. You might get it accepted with 10 offers. But if that's the case, then you need to plan on next time you probably are going to need to make 70 offers. So the averages come, and if the first time it takes you 80 offers, then the next time it may only take you 10 offers, because it's just going to come. It's just going to be the law of averages. And so they may take a year before it hits those averages, or even longer. So make 10 to 15 offers a month. That'd be my recommendation. Basically 2 to 3 offers a week. If you can't do that, make at least 1 offer a week. But, it's not that much work. You're doing 2.5 to 3.75 offers a week. Do you have time for that? If not, make 1 offer a week. And don't just go for the home runs. Use the 17 ways to get no money down deals so that you can get some singles and some doubles. Get the 0% financing to cover some of the marketing costs so you don't have to work as hard. You can put your money in there to work. So now let's get into this whole other segment of how many offers can I make at once. So you're saying, hey, okay, Ryan, I need to make 30 offers or 50 offers in order for me to get a property based upon my circumstances. Great. You can make more than 1 offer at the same time. And this is something a lot of people just don't understand. This is a really common mistake. You can make as many offers as you want at the same time. You can make 100 offers just right now if you had the capabilities of doing that, meaning you could write them all up. You could make 100. When you make an offer, you just have to have an intent that you're going to buy the property if you're extending an offer for. And you should make multiple offers at once at the same time. The downside to this is earnest money. How are you going to deal with your earnest money? So each time you make an offer, you have to have earnest money. This is set by you, the buyer, and it could be $5 to $10,000. It's really up to you. If the offer is off market, I typically do $50 in earnest money. And if the offer is MLS, you typically have to do $500 or up to 1%. On the really high-end homes, it could be 2% of the purchase price. Another reason why I like to stay away from the MLS, although if you're using MLS Sniper, it's a great way to make them happen. So I set it up to say the contract, to say that I will give the earnest money 3 days after acceptance. Well, what that does is I don't have to go put $50 on every single offer I'm making or $500 on every offer I'm making. I don't pay any earnest money. I say, hey, I'll give you $500 earnest money or $50 earnest money, but I'll give it to you 3 days after you accept my offer, because most of the offers, we went through the numbers, most of the offers are not going to accept my offer. 80% are never going to accept my offer. So let's make a whole bunch of offers, and then the ones that do accept, then I will then put earnest money down on those offers. So I don't need thousands of dollars in earnest money. This is huge. Most people think every time I make that offer, I've got to put a whole bunch of earnest money. And so they're limited by the amount of earnest money because they may only have $1,000 for earnest money. No. Say you'll put the earnest money once you actually go under contract. Just change the offer so that you can do that. And then I give my earnest money directly to the title company or the closing attorney. I don't give my earnest money directly to the seller. So if you're offering through an agent, you typically need to give your earnest money through the agent or give it to the agent. It's just one of the things that the agents are going to require you to do. They want to have it in an escrow account and those types of things. So anyway, just be prepared for that as well. So multiple offers, inspections, and due diligence. So what if you offered 100 offers and every single one of them got accepted? Well, one, that's going to be impossible, but let's just say it did. So now what? Well, you could remove yourself all of them. You can say, you know what? I changed my mind. During my due diligence, I decided not to move forward. The due diligence isn't just you do an inspection of the property, but it's you're doing your own due diligence to say, do I really want to move forward with this? Well, you can change your mind. And that's one of the things a lot of people don't realize is when you're under contract, the buyer has all the outs and all the contingencies. The seller does not. So the seller is obligated to sell the property. They have to sell the property once they go under contract. They can't not. But the buyer's not obligated to buy the property if they draft their contracts appropriately. And drafting their contracts is basically saying, hey, we are going to make sure that when we draft the contract, we're going to have an inspections period. We're going to have a due diligence period. We're going to have we're going to have a time to get the values done or an appraisal contingency. These are all contingencies because if you think about it, the buyer's saying, I walked through the house for 10 minutes. I don't know anything about the house. I need time to get my inspectors in there and those things. And so that's what's built into the contracts. And so if you build your contracts appropriately, and if you're looking for some, you can find them in our members area as well. So if drafted correctly, you can cancel the contract, get your earnest money back, and have no liability if you do all this before your due diligence deadline. So don't be afraid to make multiple offers. Make a bunch of offers. Make them every single week. How do I get a game plan? We have a software we talked about with the Next Deal Blueprint where it actually we put in the details and it tells you exactly what to do to get a deal in your specific time frame. It has weekly tracking. It has everything just built into it. So those are some of the big things. So let's just kind of get a recap. How many offers do I need to make to get one property under contract? And we talked about that. It really just depends on your situation. And that's why we have this really cool calculator to help you understand. And then once you get that, then the next step is to use the Next Deal Blueprint to put weekly assignments together for you on what you need to do in order to get the property, get those offers made. The next thing is, as it's loading here, okay, are off-market or on-market deals easier to get under contract? And yes, typically off-market deals are going to be easier to get under contract. How big of a factor does your experience level really play? Well, as we talk about with the calculator, it makes a difference. And you can see that as you put the numbers in there. So should your marketing cast a wide net or follow a sniper approach? It depends on what you're going after. The more sniper you're going to be, the less leads you will have. And so there's some pros and cons on both sides of that. How many offers should I make at one time? I would say a bunch. I'd make a couple of offers every single week and just get in the habit of that. If you can't, make an offer once a week. If you can't do that, make one every other week, but plan on it taking longer for you to get the property. It's also going to depend if you want to spend time or money, which we talked about. Okay, if you missed last week's live cast, how to determine areas and neighborhoods to invest in, you'll want to go back and watch a replay. It's very much worth your time. You can go to Do Hard Money on YouTube, and while you're there, remember to subscribe to the channel. Please like the video, leave your comments. Okay, I'll take a drink here. So it's now time. Let's get some comments. Let's get some things rolling here. What questions do you have about number of offers need to be made? How can this help you? What are you running into? What struggles do you have? If you've got some, please type them in the chat. I'll be answering those live here. as they come up. So please take advantage of that. Type some of those in the chat. So Next Deal Blueprint, if you don't have a copy of the Next Deal Blueprint, you can get a free copy of it. This is the blueprint to get you to get those deals under contract. So just go to dohardmoney.com/NDB for Next Deal Blueprint -giveaway. So go over to Do Hard Money NDB -giveaway. I'm going to make it super easy for you. So I'm going to just throw this in the chat so that you have that. And it looks like we got a couple of questions coming in. Okay, no. So we're good at the moment. So the other thing I want to talk about, if you have some questions, feel free to throw them in the chat about number of offers or how many offers you can make or how many offers you need to do. So wholetailing. So these are future topics. If you want to see, please vote and put in here what you would like to see for our next for our next live cast. So wholetailing, reverse wholesaling, determining repair costs, coronavirus investing, how to analyze rentals, wholesaling remotely, choosing a good contractor, seller financing, contractor bids, determining rental prices, business partner deep dive, prepare yourself to buy cash flowing properties, how to make offers without seeing properties, BRRRR, auction properties, closing a deal, all the players, sales skills, seller negotiating, the kitchen table, subject to deals, or something else. So two things. One, if you have questions on what we covered, please type those in the comment section here. And secondly, please type in what you would like to see for future live casts, and then we'll be voting on that. So let's just jump into Jermaine. How do you find someone to design a house for you? I think you're talking more, Jermaine. I don't know if you're talking about an architect. You're needing an architect. This, like we've got here, this is a blueprint. So if that's the case, you're going to want to talk with an architect. Otherwise, you'll probably want to start with a general contractor if the house is already there. But if you're looking at a brand new house, you would probably want to start with an architect or find a general contractor. So I hope that helps. Frank, off market, some kind of script. Yeah, Frank, absolutely. I think it depends on what type of off market properties you're going after. So it depends. Help me. So there's two ways to go after off-market properties. I'm going to send postcards or I'm going to do voice broadcasts. If that's the case, they're going to be calling me. If I am doing a bunch of voice broadcasts, I'm probably going to set up like a Google phone number so they can go right to voicemail, because you are going to get some haters that are going to call you that are upset about how you got their information and those things. But then you'll just directly call back the people. We actually have, in a couple of live casts ago, we actually have a motivated seller sheet. You can get a copy of that for free. I can't remember which live cast that was, but if you go back and watch a couple of those other live casts, you can get a copy of that motivated seller sheet, which will have a lot of questions to ask. But it's basically saying, hey, what's going on? Why do you want to sell? Those types of things. We also did a whole live cast on how to talk to sellers as well. So check out some of those other live casts. You'll find it. Or if you're a member, you can just get it in the members area. We've got scripts built into there. Kent, is this a PowerPoint that we can refer to? Yes, actually, Kent, this PowerPoint is going to be up on YouTube, so you can watch it anytime you want to, and you can just press stop and play and those types of things to get a copy of it as well. So great questions. Walter, an accurate ARV for a property? Walter, that is a fantastic question. In Investor's Edge software, when you come into here, this is going to give you a couple of values. This is going to give you an estimated value and last year's value. This is an AVM, which is an automated value management system for every property. Usually I have to pay $20 to $30 per property for one of these, or be a lender that pays that to get it. And this just gives you the comps that are happening in the area. So this just gives you a general idea so you can then go do the marketing, but that is not what the property's worth. The next thing you've got to do is come in here and do a comp search. If you're a member, we have value certification basic and value certification advanced. And we actually show you how to come in here and pull the comps. You have access to the MLS, the tax records, and all those things. And we teach you how to come in here and pull the comps accurately. Also, if you're a member, we give you desktop evaluations included in your membership, where we have a professional desktop done, and then we actually show you how to do that and how we came to those. So a super, super, super good tool for you. So I hope that helps, Walter. Again, if you've got questions you want to know, type them in the live chat. We're going to get them answered here. If you don't have any questions, please vote on what you want, like Mark just did, subject to deals, BRRRR deals, and negotiation. Awesome, Mark. Really appreciate it. We'll add that to the list. Basically, we kind of just see what gets voted up, and we take it from there, not just from the live, but also from comments that we're getting along the way. And if you want to take advantage of this next deal blueprint, go to dohardmoney.com/NDB-giveaway. If you are going to take advantage of this, please just put in the comments, I'm going to get the blueprint. So I'm going to get the next deal blueprint. So I think it'd be really interesting for me to know who's interested in that. So more information. If you enjoyed what you've learned today, please share the livecast link on YouTube with friends. Again, I want to get to that 4,000. Appreciate you guys committing to help me to do that. The other thing you can do is check out Income Hacker. It's a podcast that I do weekly. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it wherever you listen to a Stitcher, Spotify, even just on your wherever you're listening to podcasts, or you can just find it online. So check it out. I'd love to have you become a subscriber there as well. Again, if you want to get that next deal blueprint, throw it in here. We'd appreciate it. Okay, we got a few things. Wholesaling remotely, great. Frank, I appreciate being here. So next week, next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the topic will be determined once we get some votes in and we know what's going on here. So I appreciate you guys being here. If there's any other questions, I'm going to stick around here for just a minute. If not, please put your votes in. I'll be watching those votes as well. Stick around here to answer some questions and then also to get the comments. All the comments are saved, so I can go back through those and get an idea. So if anybody's got a question on today's topic of how many offers you need to make, please type those in. I'm happy to get those answered. Let's see here. Looks like nothing more coming in, guys. This has been awesome. If this has been helpful for you, please type in these comments. This has been good, or you've liked it, or this has helped you see something differently. Always appreciate it. And please take advantage of the Next Deal Blueprint. I think you'll be really amazed when you see it. It makes it super easy for you as a real estate investor to know what to do. So the first problem and challenge that we run into is like, how many offers do I really need to make? Okay, great. Then the next challenge I run into is, how do I know how to make those offers? And that's where the Next Deal Blueprint, like, should I send postcards? Should I do mailers? Like, what should I do? Should I knock on doors? And then how do you find the people to actually go after? And that's where the Investor's Edge comes in, where you're going to determine neighborhoods and where you actually want to be and market statistics and analytics and all that type of fun stuff. And then after that, the next problem that you're going to run into then is, how do I contact them? And that's where we do the skip tracing, we do the campaigns, we do all that type of stuff. And then you got to know what to say to those people. And then once you know what to say to those people, then you got to know how to value the properties. And then once you do that, then you got to know how to get the funding. And then once you get then before you get the funding, you got to know the contractor bids and know what to do, which we've got all kinds of modules on those things. And then after that, then you've got to worry about the funding and getting the funding happen. Then you've got to do the project management and actually manage the project. And then you've got to get the property listed, get the property sold, and then you actually enter payday. So we're basically broken it down step by step, so you know exactly what to do every turn as you go along. So please take advantage of this Next Deal Blueprint. It's a great tool. It's a free resource we're going to give to you guys for being here today. Again, if you've liked this live cast, please tell a friend and promote it, because we want to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of this month and beyond. I appreciate the motivation from a lot of you guys. We're only like 110 shy right now, so let's get there. Mark, great info today. Thank you so much. You bet, Mark. Appreciate you being on here. John said finding property is something he wants to hear. So I really appreciate you guys being with us. We're going to go ahead, and this is excellent information. Great, Kent. I really appreciate it. Keep those comments coming. We're going to go ahead and shut it down. Thank you, everybody, for being here today, and we will see you next time.